Hey guys, welcome back to Selenium with Java September 2023 batch online trading session 10. So in last two sessions I have covered primarily the TestNG framework different concept, and you have already learned the basic and advanced Java. You have already learned the Selenium right standalone component functionality. Now we'll go to the little bit deeper on the framework. Today I will cover right what is the framework concept, what is the automation testing process, what are the Java ops concept, right, where it will be relevant to build the automation framework, top 10 test automation framework available in the market, and what is data driven framework in Selenium, and how we can read the data from the Excel sheet with the help of Apache PY. And reading and writing the data from the Excel sheet you can learn in the next sessions, where I will cover more on the data driven testing along with keyword and hybrid framework also. And in the last session, session number 12, will be on the BTD and cucumber part. So what is framework? Sometimes people say that framework is a tool, or framework is a technology, or framework is a programming language. It is not like that. Framework is a concept, right? So a framework defines a set of rules or best practices which user can follow in a systematic way to achieve the desired result. So it is give you the skeleton, right? How to develop the thing from the scratch, how you can avoid the can repetitive effort. In case some problem is there, how you can fix the code, right? How you can fix the script quickly. So that is the systematic approach framework will help you to derive. In a test automation project, user to perform different tasks by using different type of files. To organize and manage all the files and to finish all the tasks in a systematic approach, user use a framework. Automation framework is not a single tool or process, but it is a collection of tools and processes working together to support automated testing for any kind of application. It does not matter whether you are testing with the web application, whether it's a Windows application, whether it's a client server application, or whether it's a mobile application. It will remain concept will remain constant across the application, across the tool, across the technology. It integrates various functions like libraries, test data, and various reusable modules or components. So without a framework, a single test case may have millions lines of code and it will test the entire functionality of the application. Now suppose user need to modify any functionality later time. So is it possible for any kind of tester or any kind of architect or any kind of test automation test lead to read the entire code again and again for a particular functionality? Answer will be definitely no, right? In case I know that problem is happening and I can debug the code and then I can easily understand, right? Because the reading so many huge line of number or huge test case will be tough and boring as well. So you also need user need to also spend a lot of time to analyze the entire code again and again. So that is the reason if we develop something framework, if we follow some framework, it will help your right task to complete right. I mean lesser time in a systematic approach, right? And in case suppose say today you are working, tomorrow you left the project, but will that stop your organization work? No, new person will come and they can pick it up. But in case you are not following a systematic approach, and that person will not able to pick it up quickly, right? So every project will be using some sort of protocol standard, every organization, every customer, and then you will be going right. You will be coming up with some sort of template or protocol. Okay, suppose say tomorrow, right, you are moving to different project, right, again you are coming back, right, after 6 months 1 year time. In case you are not using any protocol, you will not able to understand your code as well down the line 6 months 1 year time. So that is the reason, right, until you are following some systematic approach, it is really difficult for any tester or test lead or test architect, right, to kind of debug the thing, to fix the thing, right, to kind of sort it out the problem. So that is the reason framework is always required for any kind of right tools or technology or any kind of project in case you are going through the automation journey. So automation framework concept, there are a couple of framework like modular driven, data driven, keyword driven, hybrid, and behavior driven development or BDD framework. What are the major advantage of in case you are using any kind of test automation framework? It will save the time. Definitely, in case you are using framework, you will be going in a systematic approach, so it will definitely save your time. In case you are saving time means it will save your cost and it will definitely right maintain the schedule, right, help you to maintain the overall project timeline. Reusability of the code in real time. right? Whenever you are going through the framework, you will try to create the useful component, right? Always. Suppose say in case you are going through a insurance life cycle, you need to create some policy, right? Claims, all this stuff. So you'll be creating some component for different kind of pages, different kind of functionality, so that you can call them in number of time. And in case any modification is required, you will just simply update the useful component automatically. Wherever that useful component will be used, automatically update will happen. That is the importance of the reusable component, so that you can create one time and you can use them in number of time with lesser or no maintenance. Easy reporting. Reporting is should be required for any kind of automation technology tools or framework, right? Until you are using not using proper framework, right, it will not generate the proper report. Sometimes customer demanding a lot of report which you can integrate at a point of time with the framework, right? And any point of time for daily or weekly or monthly status, right, you should portray with the proper reporting format. And until you are using any framework, reporting will be very very tough to generate. Easy for compatibility testing means any kind of test cases, test script you can I need to run in different browser operating system combination. So that will framework will help you, right, for parallel execution in combination of different operating system and browser environment. You already seen in the last session that how we can execute, right, using the multi-threaded environment in different browser and different operating system, and how you can do the parallel means same test cases, right, multiple test cases can be run simultaneously using different thread as well. Low cost maintenance. It is cheaper compared to manual testing in the long run, right? In case especially in case you want to create some data, you want to do some regression testing, right? You should always go with the automation approach, and it will definitely save you a lot of time, effort, and definitely, right, hard and soft dollars or savings also. Reliability, right? In case it's automation, right, there will be no kind of failure in terms of, right, human error, right? So automated testing is more reliable as manual intervention is required, less manual intervention is required. Repeatability, I already discussed, right? In case you need to execute same test case again and again and again for data creation, test data creation, or the regression run, you can definitely do it, right, for every day, right, weekly or monthly basis. Minimal manual intervention. Nowadays, right, not only automation, right, you are developing the script, but you are also integrating with the CI/CD pipeline. CI/CD is nothing but the continuous integration, continuous development. There are a lot of tools available in the market, like starting from the Jenkins, Bamboo, like you can also go with the Dockers, right, and so that automatically you can create some pipeline. In case some build is triggering, automatically it will try to execute the test cases whatever it is configured, and it will generate the report, and it will share the report to the respective stakeholder. That is the way, right? In case you don't need to wait for your build to happen, it can also unattendedly execute it, right, and it will generate the report to the and share the report to the stakeholder, and everybody can get to know that whether build is successful or not, and this stuff. Maximum coverage. In case you are doing manually, right, execution, so you can maybe cover 5 different permutation combination, right, because every combination will take same time. But in case you are doing automation, same script you can develop, and with the help of data driven approach, right, you can just vary the data, and it will give you the maximum coverage, so that there will be less chances of defect to be right, discovered in the later point of stage. Automation framework concept. So it handles script and data separately. So that is the important concept, right? I want to keep my data separated, and it will not touch my code. So that is the way, right? Easier way. Data driven approach will be there, where my code and data will be altogether different entity. Automated test scripts should be clearly separated from the input file. It can be any form, like it can be XML, Excel file, flat file, database format also, so that no modification is required to the test script whenever data has to be changed for the multiples variables or the multiples input validation. Library. Library means nothing, right? As in case you need to create the different pages object, and then you can create the usable component, right? So that is the way. In case you need to create n number of test cases, you can call the usable component again and again. And in case your any usable component modified, change, pages change, you can just update only the usable component. So wherever the usable component, right, called, automatically everywhere the changes will be happen. Coding standard. Every organization, every customer, right, every project will be need to follow some coding standard, because, right, you cannot do whatever you want to do. You have to follow something. You cannot give any kind of name. No, you have to follow some protocol, so that, right, other tester, in case multiple person tester is working, automated tester is working for a single project, they can also, right, clarify the thing, all this stuff. At later point of time, new person is coming, they can understand. So the coding standard should be always there. You need to maintain it. Uniformity, code uniformity. which makes it easier for software tester and developer to interpret. Extensibility and maintenance. An ideal test automation framework should steadily support all kind of new enhancement to the software application. So it is not like that. Suppose whatever you are developing, that is your final version. No, because any point of time, new change requests might come, and your application might get changed. Right? Few pages get changed, few new pages get added, few might be removed. So you should always update your test script with the latest requirement, so that right it will give you the proper result. Otherwise, right, in case you are not maintaining your script, right, it will fail you every time, and there will be no kind of return you can get it whatever investment you have done. Script on versioning framework. So whenever you are developing the framework, right, better to keep all the versions track, so that right in case something got changed, corrupted, you can also go to the previous version. So better to keep version every week, later new version. Suppose another example I am giving. Suppose say today you have developed, right, at least 100 script, right, maybe version 1, right, and after that you are going to the customer, and customer say that no, this is 50% 50 script, you need to modify according to the thing, right. So you already developed, you change a version say 2, okay, but after 1 week time customer say that no, your original version was correct and you don't need to go with the new version. So what you could do, again you need to change the version 2. No, instead of that you will be directly navigating to the version 1, which is already available to your database, and you can save the cost and time definitely. That is the reason versioning is really important, right, to keep the version, all the version on weekly basis. So that will be your skeleton, right, in case any corruption, any kind of problem happen, you can use the latest version instead of, right, delaying the thing. What are the different kind of testing you can perform through automation journey? You can do smoke testing, you can do unit testing, integration, functional, keyword driven testing, regression, data driven, and the black box testing as well through automation framework. What are the type of test cases you should pick to automate? First, your intention will be that whatever is really executable in n number of times, just like mentioned, right, smoke suit, sanity suit, or data creation part, or regression suit, you should first automate them. After that you can go with the functional, non-functional, integration, all these test cases, end-to-end test cases as well. So whatever you are getting the most return of investment, right, ROI, those test cases you should pick first. But sometimes customers say that no, you need to automate 100%, it does not matter, I will be using 1 time or 10 times, then you can go with that. But otherwise, as part of standard process, you should be automating those test cases which will be used n number of times throughout your life cycle. What are the test cases you should not pick up to automate? Right? Sometimes some test cases may be executed only 1 time. Sometimes few of the component where maybe there is a probability of changing the requirement. Those are the area, right? You should not pick it up for the automation. Otherwise, lot of changes will be there, and you will not be getting the complete like return value, right? Whatever investment you are doing, you are not getting the complete also benefit also. Automation testing process, there are 5 processes through your automation journey. First is tool selection. Then define the scope of automation, then the planning, design and development, then execution and reporting, and then the maintenance. Tool selection. So whenever you want to start your automation journey, I already mentioned right in the first session that you need to do some POC or the proof of concept. What is the POC? So you, based on your application, right, your application may vary, it can be web based, client server based, Windows based. Based on the application, based on your customer, right, budget and other different constraints, right, you need to certify, right, which tool will be better for your thing, right, whether it's a licensed tool or free tool, right, all this stuff you need to do, right. So that is the way. First your tool selection will be there, framework selection along with the programming language and other CI/CD pipeline selection as well. So those are come as part of the tool only. Then define the scope of automation. The scope of automation is the area of user application under test or AUT which will be automated. Right? When you will define the scope of automation, you need to remember a couple of important points. The features that are important to the business, so you should automate first. Scenario which will be having large amount of the data, common functionality across application, technical feasibility, the extent to which business component will be reused, the complexity of the test cases, ability to use the same test cases for cross-browser testing as well. These are the different kind of stuff you need to consider whenever you are defining the scope of automation. Then the planning, design and development is nothing, right? You need to do the proper planning, right? Sometimes you need to create the automation strategy also and automation planning. right, where you will be kind of framing, right, who will be walking, right, what is the milestone, what are the different timeline available. Then you will be identifying the test cases. Then you will be creating the kind of page library, reusable component, and then you will be automating it. You'll be debugging your code and you'll be doing the dry run, right. After that, your code will be ready. Then, as and when you need to execute them, right, your test cases will be started and you will be executing them. After execution, there might be some false failure, so you can retry those execution using the different listeners or other parameter settings, and then you can get to know how many test cases fast fail on the actual basis. From the fail test case, you can go with the analysis part, and you can get to know whether it's a real failure because of the defect, right, all this stuff, and you can log a defect in defect management tool. And after that, right, you can create the automation test summary report and you can share with the stakeholder. The last part will be coming in the maintenance part. So automation testing project will be big failure until you are maintaining your skip. Because say today you have developed maybe 500 skip, and after 6 months you want to run them and you found that everything is getting failed and not a single test case is passed. Why? Because in 6 months down the line some new change requirement or new changes happen which you did not incorporate to your existing test cases or test script. So that is the reason it's better to always up to date your test script due to the latest requirement, latest changes, so that right any point of time you can run the upgrade test case and you can get the desired result, and you can definitely get the right return on the investment whatever you already made. Then the Java Ops concept, why you will be linking your Java Ops concept, that is the thing interviewer might definitely ask you, right, that to understand that whether you have learned Java or whether, right, you have already learned the framework concept or not. In Java there are kind of four kind of concept, like kind of Ops concept: object oriented programming structure, inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and encapsulation. So what is abstraction? Abstract is nothing but the hiding of the data or hiding the implementation and just letting the user know the functionality only. So you already use, right, WebDriver driver equal to new Chrome driver. So what is WebDriver? WebDriver is interface. So abstraction is nothing but the, right, something without any kind of body, right, or maybe implementation. So you will be calling the interface, but nobody know what is inside the interface, and you are creating the object or instance. Then with the help of the object or instance, you are calling the relevant method from the interfaces. So that is the real-time example of the data abstraction. Encapsulation is nothing. In what is capsule? It is similar to capsule. Capsule means these are different ingredients in a single capsule, right? Okay, so that is the way, right? Here also encapsulation is nothing but the wrapping up the data under a single unit. It is a mechanism which binds together code and data it manipulates. Encapsulation can be achieved by declaring all the variables in the class as private. All the variables in the class is private and the method will be public. So what will happen, right? You cannot, right, access them as and when required because your class is private and your methods are public. So the example is that in case you are using the that object model called page object model POM, right? You will be learning that at the rate find by annotation. So that is the example of the encapsulation. Inheritance. Inheritance is nothing but the parent-child relationship. So that in case you are creating a child class and you are inheriting the parent class, so all the properties from the parent or the grandparent you can access it. So in the real-time framework, what you need to do, you will be creating a base class and you will be creating the page classes. So all the page classes will be, right, inheriting the base class, so that all the functionality whatever is written in the base class you can, right, access them for every page class. So that is the concept of the inheritance. The polymorphism. Poly means many and form means way. So there are different way altogether to perform the same operation. So in polymorphism there are two concepts. One is the method overloading and one is the method overriding. So what is method overloading means? Same method with different, right, signature. So how you will be segregating the signature? Signature is nothing but like the data type changes or the number of argument changes. You already learned in the Java. So in case you are calling driver.findElement, right, there is an option called by.id. by dot name by dot class name. So this is the simple example of like method overloading. Or you can use like implicit timeout dot seconds, minute, hour, all this stuff, because these are the different kind of signature, but method is same. So that is the pure example of method overloading. And what is the example of method overriding? Method overriding means in case you are having same method common in both your parent class and child class, your child class will take the advantage and your parent class will override. I already discussed in the last session, right? Especially for the timeout issue, right? Suppose say in case you are defining some timeout in the main class called 30 seconds. So what will happen in case your page is not loading, right? You are not able to identify any kind of element locator, right? Your script will wait for 30-second maximum, and after that it will throw the error. So that is fine. So suppose you are having 100 pages, so you can define in the base class, and definitely whenever page class it will be inheriting the base class. So everybody will be having the base class features. So every time it will wait for 30-second maximum time before throwing any error. Okay, that is common for 100 pages. But you already know that out of 100 pages, 2 pages is very big, and for these 2 pages, instead of 30 minutes time, 30 seconds time, it might take 2 minutes time to load. So you will be defining similar method in the page class for those particular 2 pages, and you will be override your base class, because base class will wait for 30 seconds, and in case you are not waiting for 2 minutes time until your page is loaded, right, your test case will fail. So that you want to override your 30 seconds to 2 minutes for only for those 2 pages, and then your operation will be successful. So that is the example, real-time example of the method overriding, right? So that your test case should not fail. Then top 10 automation framework in the market, right? So there are different kind of application is there, right? You will be performing API testing, you will be performing the mobile testing, you will be performing the web browser, web based, right? Windows server based or Windows based testing. So robot framework primarily use Selenium with Python. In case you want to use the Selenium with Python, you should use the robot framework, which will support different kind of like .NET application and also web based application as well. WebDriver IO is also kind of framework which can be used especially for Node.js kind of stuff. Okay, Citrus is also an open source framework which you can use to integrate like especially the REST, right, HTTP SOAP, all this kind of messaging transport. You can go through the details here listed here. Cypress is nowadays also popular framework similar to Selenium, but it is use the different kind of approach called TDD, test data driven. So Cypress supports JavaScript, which also support different kind of thing called web based testing, or sometimes called Windows based testing. Selenium also you already know, it is a popular open source tool especially for the web based testing, and it support different kind of browser, it support different kind of programming language starting with Python, then Java, C Hash, Ruby, Perl, etc. Cucumber, that will be covered in the last session. So Cucumber is a kind of a tool which support the BDD framework, right? So nowadays not only tester want to participate in the script development, sometimes along with tester, right, business analyst, developer, scrum master, product owner, management also want to interact. So you can use the BDD framework, which is pretty much simpler, and everyone can interact, and then you can create the features file, the step definition class, the runner class. That will be covered in the upcoming session. And also it support different kind of web based application, and nowadays BDD framework also support the API testing also, right? In case you want to create to go with the different framework or Karate framework also, which will be similar to BDD framework. Then there are other kind of tool also there, Gauge, Serenity, and Carina and Earl Grey, which also used in different stuff like TDD, BDD, right? Also, just you can go through this slide. So I will take a just pause, guys. So covered lot of important concepts. These are very important concepts. So you are able to clear the concept, that will help you, right, to get the complete understanding what is framework all about. And most of your interview questions also come from this slide as well. and in case you are able to understand, it will help you, right, to definitely, right, go for the answer also. Okay, just I will take a pause, guys. Any kind of question so far? Anyone? So mostly the theoretical part, but now we'll be able to see how we'll be implementing with the different kind of framework, starting on data driven, reading writing the data from the Excel sheet, keyword driven and hybrid slowly, along with BDD. Yes.
Cucumber BTT framework, can you please explain to me how we can?
Yeah, that will be covered in the last session. No, it will be covered from the scratch.
Acha,
Okay.
acha.
Okay. So Cucumber is a tool. Okay. Cucumber is not a framework. Okay. And BTD is the framework which is support Cucumber. So in case, especially for the Java related part, in case you are using C language, then your tool will be SpecFlow. Okay. And BTD will be framework. It is called, sorry, it will be SpecFlow. Okay. And for C it be instead of BTD, it will be called as SpecFlow. So it is nothing like, so here you, in case you already know, right, it will cover, there is syntax called given, when and then. That is the way we will be writing our test cases. Given means the precondition, when means the step to reproduce, and then means the outcome. And then we'll be simply writing in the English language. Suppose say given, right, I'm just giving an example. Suppose say you want to open a Google page, you want to search, enter something, let's say Selenium. So what will output? It will display all the result related to Selenium. So I'll be writing the Cucumber kind of features file. So given, right, user is able to log into the Google page, then when user type a keyword called Selenium tutorial, then what will be then? All relevant result related to Cucumber tutorial will be displayed in the Google homepage. So that is the way, very simple, plain and English language, you can write your step, and then you can convert this features file into the step dependent class in the easier way, and there will be runner class. So that with the help of the runner class using JUnit, right, you will able to run all the features file all together, and you can generate different kind of report like XML report, HTML report, JUnit report, and along with extend report as well. Okay, there are a lot of things available, right? There are hooks concept available. There are kind of other priority thing you can do. Tags you can use in the Cucumber similar to TestNG, right? Group part. These are the different thing will be available, but nothing is very new. One in case you are able to understand couple of framework, then it will be very helpful for understand the other one. But Cucumber is a separate topic, so I'll be covered from the scratch, and you can definitely get the more clarity whenever I'll be covering the Cucumber framework. But this is the way, right, you'll be developing the Cucumber framework. So without any much knowledge also, you can still work on the Cucumber. But definitely in case you want to develop 100 200 5 minutes, keep, you would require the good knowledge in the programming language and other interaction also, then it will help you, right, to go with the details. But in especially for the test case analysis, right, design part, other stakeholder like business analyst and other part, they can also interact. So it is not only that automation tester can do work, but other stakeholder also can work. They can review the steps, right, features file, whatever thing you have written, and they can correct also. That is the way it will help. But in the other framework, which is purely, right, code related part, right, on a other person like the product owner, scrum master, business analyst, until they are really good on the programming language or the tools of the framework, they cannot contribute much. But in case you are using BDD framework, most of the stakeholder can interact and help you, right, down the line. So that is the more advantage of the BDD framework. But yeah, nobody can say that no, I'll be using BDD, I'll be using TDD, I will be using data driven keyword or hybrid. It will depend. So that is the reason you should know all the kind of framework wherever it will be required, based on your project need, based on your customer need, based on your organization strategy. You can use them. Okay. But yeah, it will depend how you'll be using based on your priority work, based on your skill set, based on your other priority factor.
Okay, understood.
Okay. Framework in Selenium. Selenium framework is a code structure that is used to make code maintenance simpler and readability better. It helps in dividing the entire code into smaller part of the code in systematic way, which tests a particular functionality. Without framework at starting, you can write entire code and data in the same place, that was neither usable nor readable. But using whenever you'll be using the framework, right, you'll be creating the proper structure of code in a better way and it will be readable for you and other team member as well. We can keep test data separate from the actual test case, which helps to analyze and update data easily. It increases code readability, helps to get the desired result in a systematic way, and reduces skip maintenance cost. Without a framework, right, in test case having like 1,000 lines, million lines of code, it will be very difficult, right, to go through the code and to inspect the thing and to debug the thing. But in case you are using a framework, you can get to know which class is having the problem, which method is having the problem. You can go to the method or the class directly and you can fix your code easily. But when you use the Selenium framework, it breaks the entire code into small part. The small part can be easily readable. If you need to modify anything, add anything, which will be really possible with very easily. There are a couple of framework I told, starting with modular, data-driven, keyword, right, hybrid, and then the BDD. So modular is nothing, right? In this framework, the tester can create the test script module-wise by breaking down the whole application into smaller module as per the client organization requirement and create the test script individually. What is the positive thing for the modular-driven framework? Modular-driven framework ensures the division of script that lead to easier maintenance and scalability. User can write independent test script. So as of now, you already seen, right? In case in the Selenium WebDriver standalone part, right? You are creating a test cases with different. It will be independent. There will be no kind of reusable component you can use for every time. You can same step. You need to copy the line of code only because there is no other way. You need to can create 10 test cases like that. But in case some modification is required, you need to go to that every test cases and you need to update it. That is the drawback of the modular driven framework. But it is easily okay. In case you are having very less 10, 5 to 20 test cases, then you can go with that. But more than that, it will not good. So that is the reason in the real time whenever test case is more, nobody using the modular driven framework. For the starting part, or in case very minimal test cases, you can go with the modular approach. But we generally do not use in the modular driven. Only learning purposes you can go with that. In data driven, what is data driven? So I want to execute same test cases with different variety of the data. That is called data driven. In the test engine you also seen, right? So that whatever you have learned test engine data driven part, that code today will automate instead of the hard coding part, right? I will automate using the Excel sheet. So data driven framework in Selenium is a technique of separating test data from the actual test case so that my data will be separate, my test case will be separate. In case I need to update the test case, I will simply update it. In case I will update my data, I will just update it. So that there is no interaction, right, at all. So that is the way you can segregate data and code different entity. Since the test case is separated from the data sheet, user can easily modify the test case of particular functionality without making changes to the code. Data-driven framework is used to drive test cases and shoot from an external data feed. The data feed can be any form, data sheet, CSV file, Excel file, right, or database as well. Say user has to modify the code for login functionality. They can modify just the login function instead of having to modify any other feature depending on the same code. Okay, so this is the diagram, right, for data driven framework. So you could see data will be different entities, CSV file, Excel or Notepad or database, and then you will be reading the code, and your code will interact with the data sheet, external sources, reading or writing the data, and then your code will different way, it will working with the application underscore test, AUT. So in the data driven framework, test data and codes are stored separately, and the automation test script is connected with the test data stored in external file. So in case you want to go with the data driven approach or the keyword driven, so it will be covered in the next session. What is keyword? It will be derived based on the keyword instead of, and hybrid is nothing but a combination of data driven plus keyword driven framework. So there is a link available here, right? Okay, where you can get all the Apache PY jar file. So you need to download all the Apache PY jar file first in case you want to go with the data driven approach. So what is the link here? Simply I already given the link here. Okay, that is the link. You can simply copy it, or you can Google it also. You can search with the Apache PY jar file. Okay, there are a lot of versions. Whatever version, latest version 5.2.2, you can go with that, and you can simply download it, right, the zip file, and it will be downloadable. And after that, just you need to associate. I will show you how to associate. Okay. Then what is the advantage of error-driven testing? It will reduce the cost of adding new test cases because you will be just updating the, in case you want to write instead of 5 data combinations you want to go with the 10 data combinations, you are simply updating the data sheet. And in case you want to update the code, you will go to the test case and you will update it. That way it will help you, right, to segregate the data and skip together, right. It allows testing of application multiple set of data during regression testing. Primarily it helps you to create the different test data for a requirement. It allows using of actions and functions in different tests. It generates test data automatically, result in creation extensive code that is flexible and easy to maintain, right. It allows execution and test cases several times, which helps to reduce test cases and the skip. What is the drawback? For every framework, drawback is common, primarily except the BDD part. Because, right, until you are having good knowledge in the programming language, the framework, and the tool, right, you cannot work on that. So, initial time, and that is the one drawback. So, you will be good resources, you will be having some sort of knowledge. Second one is that initial time to develop the framework, you need to spend the time, right, because you will not be getting any output. You need to create the skeleton first, and then slowly you will be able to add n number of test cases. Sometimes you need to deal with the external different kind of stuff like notepad, csv file, data file, for which you need to do extra custom also. And primarily Selenium, right, is a free tool, so right, you need to write lot of lines extra additional code because it is not having integrated all this stuff. So that are the common major disadvantage for most of the framework. So now I will cover, right, how you can read the data from the Excel sheet in the data driven framework. You already seen in the last session. Let's go here, slow step by step. So in the last session, we are trying to do a data driven testing using the TestNG data provider, right? So that is my code. First, I am setting the properties for the Chrome driver. I am creating a object code instance for the Selenium WebDriver. I am maximizing it. I am giving some wait time called 20 seconds, so that in case my page is not loaded, it will wait for 20 seconds. I am deleting all the cookies. I am trying to launch the Facebook page, and I am trying to identify the email field, password field. I want to enter the value, which is not hard coded, because that value I want to change with the help of the data provider. So that is the code I have written in the last day, and that part I will change it, and I will read the data from the Excel sheet. How it is easier? Suppose say today, let's try to run it. Okay. So it is having 3 different variations of the data, and it will execute it. Okay, but tomorrow in case suppose you would require 5 different variations or 10 different variations of the data, okay, simply I can copy it and I can change it accordingly. But instead of 3, right, it is 3 means 3 iteration, and 2 means 2 field I want to interact. But here if you just change it to 5 or 4, right, so what will happen? To throw the error for the last iteration. Why? Because it is having data for 3 iteration, but I want to iterate for 4 times. That is the number of iteration is called row, and column is the number of field you want to interact, and it will throw the error, right, until you are adding the data. And if you want to add the data, right, you need to change the column number, row number, you need to change the data, which will be more tedious, and you need to update in the same class also, right. Sometimes it may touch the other code and it will create a lot of trouble, and in the last it will throw the error also, because it is not able to get the data, but you have given the iteration is 4, right. You could see this 4, but you have given the data called 4, so it is throwing the error, right, null point exception, because it is not able to get the data. And if you go to that one, right, you could see that 3 iteration got passed and 4 iteration failed, null. It is not able to get it. But now if you just change it here, add one more line of data, it will be easier. So here you need to change it also. In case multiple column, you need to change it also, otherwise it will not work properly. So you need to change it also. Then it will work. Now if you just try to execute it, it will definitely should work properly. So it will run for 4 iterations. So that is the way it is possible. No, it is. I am not saying, nobody is saying that it is not possible. But the problem is, right? In case something you need to change multiple places, and you need to, it will, in case you are doing any mistake, it will create problem, right? Sometimes it will be very, very tough to identify the cause as well. But in case you want to drive that part, data part, from the Excel, so that your data will be separated from the code, because you are writing the code only here, and in case you need to update the code, you will be updating in here, and you need to update the data will be here. So this is the Excel sheet I have created and pasted it in the desktop, and this is the 4 variation of the data I want to just pass it. So how easily I am not fixing, right, the how many row, how many number. In case tomorrow I need to change for 6 iteration, I can simply add the data like that. So I don't need to define, right, what is the my row, what is the column. So I just simply need to add the value like that. Tomorrow I need to go for 3 iteration, simply I can delete it from here simply. You don't need to define anything, you don't need to delete it. Simply you can, how easily you can do it. So that is the way you can create an Excel, and you can drive the data from the external source called Excel or CSV. Excel is most of the project Excel will be using. Okay. So no worry, down the line in case database also required, you can learn it very easily, but it is not covered because database setup and other stuff will be more complicated. But it is not be an boring stuff. Okay. So now my intention is that I want to read the thing from the Excel. So first what thing, I need to download the jar file for the Apache PY. So this is the part, right? 5.2 point some version is already downloaded, Apache PY 5.2.3. Then what you need to do, you need to go to the project here. You need to right click properties, and you need to click on the Java build path, and you need to manually add external jars. So what you need to do, in the Apache PY there are a lot of folders available. Yeah. So in that folder, right, in the outside there is couple of jar files, so you can add them. After that you need to go to the other folder, you need to add this file, and there are 3 folders also, you need to add all the jar files all together. So that is the way it will work. So all the jar file you need to add together, right, apply and close. So all the jar file is added here along with Selenium jar file, and testng is the library already added to the project. That is the reason we are not using at the public static void main, we are using the @test. Okay, that is your first part. Second part, you need to create a separate class, right, where you'll be writing all the methods. So say read data from Excel. This is the method, this is the class name you are giving. No need to select public static void main, no need, because we will be writing the important method for reading or write for the Excel sheet. Just simply I have written it. Now forget about the code. Okay, so just try to understand the logic, how we can read the data from the Excel sheet. Okay, so what is Excel sheet? First you need to understand in which path my Excel sheet is stored. So it is stored in my desktop, right? So how can we get the path here? So how can we get the path? If you select that Excel sheet, right click here, and you can go to the properties. You could see. So this is the path. Okay, this is the path. C drive, my desktop is there. What is the name of the Excel sheet? This is the name of the Excel sheet. What is the extension of the Excel sheet? .xlsx. Before, right, 2006 format it was .xls and .xlsx. Nowadays it is .xlsx. In later point new version might come, and then also need to be changed accordingly. So this is the first thing. What is the path of the sheet? What is the name of the sheet? What is the extension of the sheet? After that, if you know, just forget about the code and other stuff. How you will be reading the data from the Excel sheet? Normal way. So you will be going to the path, right? The path and then the name and the extension. Then you will open the sheet. After opening, right, there might be different tabs in the Excel sheet, right? Sheet 1, sheet 2, other tab you can give some name as well. Then you can go with the sheet index. Sometimes it can be index. In case you are having 3 tab, index will be 0, 1, 2. But in case you are having multiple tab, n number of tab, you cannot get with the index. Instead of that, you should go with the sheet name, because sheet name will be always unique. You cannot have the two sheet names same. It will throw the error. Then once you go to the path, you need to go to the sheet. Then you need to go to the row, and then you need to go to the column, that is called cell. Then you can read the data. So that is the normal approach for reading the Excel sheet. So similar approach I will try to implement it also, right, whenever I want to read the data. So this is my class I have created. So whenever you will be dealing with the Excel sheet, especially from the .xls x format, you need to Apache PY. There are a lot of classes available, right? Called XSF workbook, XSF sheet, XSF rows, column, all this stuff. So I'll be creating a global object called XSF workbook. So that is the class available. I can create some variable called WB. Then XSF sheet, that is the class. So I can create a variable called globally, so that I can use them any number of methods. That is the reason I need to create the globally. You could see from where it is coming. It is coming from the Apache PY jar file, right? XSF workbook, and then it is coming from the also XSF sheet also coming from the org.apache PY. That is the reason you need to download all the Apache PY jar file. You need to add to your project. Then I will be creating a constructor. I can create a method as well. But what is the difference between constructor and method? Can anyone tell me?
Constructor will execute it whenever we call the class. I mean, whenever the class is called, this will get executed before any other method.
Yes, exactly. So constructor is similar to method, but constructor should have the same name as the method name, right? So that as and when you will be creating the object or instance, immediately your constructor will be invoked. You no need to call the method separately. But in case of method, you need to create the object instance first, and you need to create a method. Sorry, or call the method. So I will be creating a constructor first. So your constructor name should be same name as the class name, public. Then here I can provide some argument, string, file path, right? That is the argument I want to pass. Okay, that is the way you need to create a method. So in case you interact with file, what is the thing you can do? You need to create an object condition for the file class, right? File, you can give some object name called file equal to new file, and here you can give the variable called file path argument. Here is a file class. You need to surround with try-catch block. You need to import Java. Okay. Then you need to first file. Then you need to go with the file input stream, because you want to read the data, and if you want to write the data, it will be file output stream, all this stuff, right? File buffered output, all this stuff. You already learned it in the file output input operation. Okay. File input stream. You do not know, press enter. It's coming from the java.io package. So if equal to new file input stream, and I will be giving that file reference. Okay, here some error message will be there. You need to surround with try-catch block. Okay. Then, or I can remove the try-catch block. I will be doing then. I already gone to the file. Then once I reach to the file path, then I can go to the workbook, right? So I already defined that variable workbook. So instead of that, how we can create the object? XSF workbook WB called new workbook. That is the way. But here I have already declared, right? So I will be calling that WB equal to new XSF workbook. Because I have already globally declared it. Here I will be provide FIS. So I will be surrounding with try-catch block first. And here also I need to surround with try-catch block. Okay. That part I need to try FIS. Need to go with another try-catch block. Yes, so that is the syntax you need to do. Okay, so means I already go to the workbook, means I already came here. Workbook means that workbook, and this is called sheet, this is called row, and this is called column. So I already created a constructor to go to the workbook. Then I need to create couple of more methods, right? So this part is done. Then what I'll doing, I need to understand, right, that how we can get the data, how we can read the data. So I'll be creating a method called, first I'll be giving the access modifier public so that it can be accessible publicly, and I can create a method called get data. That is the method. So in how we can get the data, I need to first get the seed number, then I will require the row and then the column, right? That is cell, row and column. So this is the three variable I need to pass. Integer seed number, then integer row, that is the argument, integer column. Okay. I did not give him the return type. Okay, I will give it later. So that is the reason it's showing some error. Okay. So I already came to the workbook. Now I go to the worksheet. So what I need to do, that is the way worksheet sheet will be new sheet like that. So that variable I already having it here. So I will call that variable sheet. So how can I go to the sheet? So first I need to go to the workbook. Then I need to go to the sheet number. There is a method called get sheet add, right? Get sheet add. You can see here either index or either name. So I'll go with the index because there is only one thing is there. So it is sheet number index, I can give it with integer. Then I already go to the sheet. Then once I go to the sheet here, that is the variable sheet, and if I call that sheet variable, then I can go to the row, get row, right? Here can I pass the row variable, and I can go to the again get cell, then row and cell. Here I can give the column reference, then dot get string cell value. That is the way I can get the cell value, which is return type will be string, right? So I will be storing in some string, say string, say data, and I will be returning the data. Otherwise how I will store it, right? So I will be returning the data. Now what I am returning, try to understand data. What is data? Data is nothing but string. So in the method also return type will be string. So every method will be public, return type or void, and the method name along with argument. So that is the way method will be done. So I am not, kind of remembering, just I am writing based on my own way. So two method is done. One, I already gone to the Excel sheet here, workbook. Then I gone to the sheet, then row and column, and I am able to read the data. My done. Is it all? No. One method is still required. Why? Because I need to understand how many row data is available. I will not go through all the 1 lakh, 2 lakhs every row. Instead of that, I want to read how many row data is available, and those row I will be reading it wherever data is available. So I need to understand for how many row data is there. Then I can get the last row number where data is available. So now I will be creating a method, another method. Similar way, public access modifier, right? Get row count. So here I can just give any kind of variable called sheet number. I can change it also. Sheet number I am covering, but two variable I can give it, not be a problem, because this is two separate methods, not be a problem. Because it is just an argument, variable name you need to give it. So here I will be going to the workbook first, dot get sheet at again, sheet number, dot, there is a method called get last row. So that is the way you can get to know for which row, last row data is available. Get last row number. You could see this coming from XSF sheet, right? Get last row, not the first row, and it will give you the return type as the integer. So I will be storing in some integer. integer row. Now I already get to know that which row number is that, and then I'll be returning, I mean incrementing it one by one until the data is available one by one. So row will be row plus 1. Then return type will be row. Row. That row I'm returning. Now what I'm returning? Return. Row. Right? What is row? Row is integer. So that integer part I'm returning in the method. This 3 part is done. These 3 method I have done. So now I have tried return a I have created a class where I have written 3 method, not 3 method, 2 method and 1 constructor. First constructor I want to go to the file path, right, means location and then name of the file and the extension of the file. Second path I am going to the sheet, I am going to the row, I am going to the cell, I am getting the string value of the cell. In numeric is there, always I will consider as a string. In case numeric is there, still it will consider as a string. The third method I want to just get to know for how many row data is available. Those row I will simply call the value. Will not iterate the blank row. That is the way I will get the data. Then I will go to my class, original class, and I will not touch this code at all. So that is the concept of data driven approach, because you will be not be touching your code. Simply you will be touching the area where you want to drive the testing based on the different variation of the data. So here we already hard coded this part. So this part I am not required. I can simply remove it, because I want to read the thing from the Excel sheet. So how I'll read the data from the Excel sheet? I already created so many methods there, right? So what I will do, I will be creating an object first. So what is the class name? This is the class name. I'll be creating object first here. So I've just removed the data only, nothing, no syntax, other syntax is removed. Okay. Say object equal to new. Here I need to give the path. What is the path? So this is my path. No need to remember anything within the double quote. This is the path // What is the name of the sheet? This is the name of the sheet. What is the extension? .xlsx. Right? It is the extension .xlsx. So now path I have given. So as and when here you need to import that one. One second, data provider. Okay, sorry, I have created into the that one outside the project, right, outside the package. That is the reason it is not able to read it. So what I can do, I can go into that one training package, same package. That is the reason it is not able to understand. Okay, so try to understand, because until it is different package it will not able to read it. So now it is fine, right? So that is the way it is able to read it, because same package is there. Now it is fine. Okay, so that is the thing I have written, right? Date data from Excel. Now error message gone. So that is the way you need to understand. Okay, so it was outside in the src package, but it's not in the same packages in src folder, but I have just drag and drop in the training folder now. So it's fine. I can remove it also here now. Outside part I can remove it. Okay, now my object got created. Means what does it mean? As an object got created, my that particular thing will be invoked. My constructor will be invoked. Means I already got the path, right? Then I'll be calling the other method for getting the number of active row. So this is the method I'll be calling. What is the return type? Return type is integer. So let's call that object variable and let's call that method, right? Get row count. Return type is integer. Here you need to pass, give argument, right? Sorry, what is seed number? Index is 0. So I'll be storing in some integer. Say it will give me the perfect row count, row variable. Okay. Then here that part, because column is still 2, but row will be volatile. It will just change it to row. So that how many row data is available, it will pick up. It will try to run it, right? So now it is row. So that is the way I will be changing it. And last thing you need to change, because these two methods I have called. I already called the constructor. I already gone to the path. I already get the number of rows available. So it will iterate and it will give me the number of row. And that means number of iteration. That part I also change it here, object part. Now I'll be running a for loop for integer I equal to 0, I less than row, because it's starting from 0, so it will go till less than row, I plus plus. Okay, then I will be here going config, calling config dot object. Here variable name is object dot, I can call the method get data. So what is the first one is row number, index 0. Second one will be so here we already written, right, the variable data. So data, and I can give some column, right, data equal to, because return type will be data here, so I can give it I. First one is iterator and second one is column. So column will be 0 and 1, because here it is 2. Now get here, and row will be your I and column will be 0, the first field. That is the way your first part is done. And second data, the second data means the password field data. So it will be again I will be your variable, and you can change it to 1, and also here it will be same, and you need to change it to 1. That is simple thing you need to do. Now your code is saved, and now you try to run it. Okay, you need to remember one thing: whenever you are reading the data from the Excel sheet, you can open your Excel sheet also. It will not be it will be possible. But in case you want to do the update operation, read and write, you need to always close the Excel sheet. Otherwise, it will be throwing the error. Now, if you try to run it, now from the Excel sheet, based on the data, it will try to run it. Okay, you could see first iteration gone, second iteration gone, third iteration gone. Okay, now what is the beauty? Now say tomorrow instead of 3 iteration, I need to change it for 5 iteration. So I will not touch my code at all. Simply I will keep it as it is, and instead of 3 iteration, I will go for maybe 6 iteration, right? Simply I will change the data in the Excel sheet, and I will save it, and now I will run it here. So your code and data is altogether different. Just running for 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. In case you run for 100 times, it will just change the data on the Excel sheet. It is a very simple one, but in case it's 5 field is there, you can do for the 5 field also. You can go here. You could see there is 6 number of iterations, 6 pass, right? And you can also get the details here. You don't need to worry that from where data is coming. That is the way you can get the data. Tomorrow again, you need to just only for change for 2 times. Okay, just save it. Okay, and just run it. So tomorrow, in case there is a 3 field, so you'll be changing it to 3 here. Otherwise, remaining thing you can add it here, one more column, and here instead of data I1, you can go I2, and you can just only same choose. So that is the way 3 field also work, 4 field also work, 5 field also work, 6 field also work. You want to change your code at all, just change it here, and you need to update your Excel sheet. That is the way your code and your data will be separate entity. I will go once more time that part, and then I will take for the questions. Okay. So framework is nothing but a set of rules or best practices which user can follow in a systematic way to achieve the desired result. So because in the real-time project your code will be like thousand to lakhs to millions, right? It is not possible to go through the code, inspect the code to debug the thing. In case you are processing following some protocol standard, right? You can easily identify that particular class or the method. You can debug the code. That is the reason, right? So framework is not a single tool or processor, but it's a collection of tool and processor working together to support automated testing of any application. It integrates various functions like libraries, stated, and various usable modules. There are a lot of framework. They are starting with modular driven, keyword driven, data driven, hybrid, BDD, TDD as well. So it saves whenever you are using any framework, it saves time and schedule, maintain schedule, reusability of the code, easy reporting, browser compatible operating system testing. You can do it. Low cost maintenance, reliability, repetitive execution, minimal manual intervention, and the maximum coverage you can get. Right? Any kind of framework handle the script and data separately. You can create usual component. You can one time and you can use them n number of time. You need to every organization, every project, every customer need to follow some coding standard, and it will help the other person to understand the thing easily, right? Maintenance will be always there, otherwise your framework will not be relevant, right? Person control you can also do it, so that you can get any point of time any kind of person related stuff. Automated testing supports smoke testing, unit testing, integration, functional, keyword, regression, black box, right, and data driven testing. So whatever test cases you will be executing, right, n number of time like sanity, regression, data part, those are the areas you should pick up fast for automate. Wherever there is a lot of complexity, right, whatever test case will be running only for one time, wherever your functionality might get changed, those are the area you should not pick up for automation. First, you need to identify the tool based on your application type and along with the programming language and the framework. Then you define the scope. Then you need to do the planning, proper planning. You need to develop the script with the help of the usual component, right? You need to debug them. You need to completely develop your script. You need to run them. You need to find out the real failure, and the real failure you need to kind of divert into a defect. And after that, you need to maintain your script so that any point of time, right, any kind of requirement you can execute them and you can get the desired result. In Java ops concept, data abstraction means hiding the parts. So WebDriver equal to new Chrome driver. Encapsulation is capsuling, right, wrapping up the data and together. You can use that find by. Inheritance is nothing but the parent-child relationship. So you can create the base class and you can create the page class, and every page class you can inherit the base class. Polymorphism, method overriding, method overloading. So like driver.find element by ID, all this stuff. And also you can use kind of implicit timeout, second, minute stuff for the method overloading. There are a lot of plenty framework available in the market, different tools, different framework, different kind of programming language for different type, like web-based testing, kind of cross-browser testing, like Windows-based, client-server-based, API-based, right? These are the different kind of stuff you can do with different framework. Okay. So modular is nothing but the isolated framework. You can use it. Data driven is nothing but your some framework which will help you to store the data separately in any CSV file, Excel, or the database, and you can interact with the code, and code will interact with the application underscore test. First, you need to download all the Apache PyJar file. Then you need to create a class where you can first create a constructor, and then you can understand how many row data is available, and you can get to the sheet rows and column, then you can read the data, and then you can interact accordingly. So data driven framework will help you to create the execute single test case n number of times per byte of the data. It will save the time and effort, and it will help to maintain schedule. But the disadvantage will be pretty much common for all the framework. You need to have the more knowledge, you need to have more tool knowledge, programming language knowledge. Initial time you need to spend some time, so that you will be not be getting the proper ROI. But once your thing is stabilized, you can instead of 5 test cases, you can add 5-minute test case in the same framework, and that will give you the real time benefit. But always remember that you need to update your code with the latest CR, latest changes. Otherwise, in the real time, not a single test case you are able to run it. Okay, so just maintenance activity will be there always. So that's all today's session, from today's session, guys. Thank you.